All that previously mentioned information regarding realities mostly serve to one purpose: to hold our own intellect at bay. It's quite convenient to compare human psyche with a computer, where there are hard drive, software, data, and algorithms for its processing. But if we take the same approach considering our intellect, certain questions arise. Firstly, in terms of proper operating, it's far from perfect. There already have been found dozens of bugs in our inward software called cognitive biases. These are errors of interpretation and perceiving. Secondly, in point of fact, our intellect stopped and turned around the process of human biological evolution. After people acquired self awareness, their animal potential got diminished dramatically. Human turned into a weaker living being compared to other creatures. Taking our intellect as an evolutionary achievement is kind of nonsensical. Layers of our psyche engendered by evolution are algorithms of behavior that we inherited from amphibians, reptiles, primates. They work like a charm without us even noticing it. When in contrast, intellect looks like a foreign substance. And the third, maybe the most important point, is that intellect is able to physically destroy its carrier. Intellect is capable of turning a man's life into a nightmare and literally drive him to suicide. Of course, they tend to blame suicides on circumstances and other mean people around. But who processes this information? Who makes the decision to commit a suicide? It's our intellect. Some scientists that seriously study brain work and the decision making process come to the conclusion that intellect is sort of an alien entity living in our head who is absolutely not interested in making our life better. Nevertheless, most certainly, you do not want to demonize intellect. However, the danger that it poses is quite serious. Intellect is an element of our psyche that processes and analyzes information. And naturally, our ego is a part of it. In fact, our perceivable ego is a utility program in service of the intellectual apparatus. So, using computer terms, we can understand that intellect and psyche is like a computer embedded into another computer. Notably, the procedure of embedment was carried out in haste, as well as the software was installed there casually. Yet we're obliged to fix and polish this software the rest of our life. So, what is intellect in the first place? What are its functions? Its primary aim is survival. This is an advanced tool for searching threats and their neutralizing. Specifically due to this advanced look for and eliminate mechanism, a man is able to survive almost under any circumstances. Trouble starts to occur when we elevate intellect over everything else. When we conclude that aside from it and perceivable ego, there is nothing in our head and our psyche and intellect is the same thing. Thereby, we put intellect in the driver's seat, giving it full carte blanche in the decision making process, which is a huge blunder. We exist in five realities simultaneously. Intellect, in its turn, has to process information from all sources in real time and produce decisions and guidelines. But human activity has a complex nature, and the key role there should not be played by intellect. Otherwise, it starts turning off aspects that could be possibly considered dangerous. Simply put, intellect deprives us of a full life. It dampens our body's voice. It misrepresents the signal from the social reality and it starts to be afraid of everything. Intellect's primary target is looking for threats, but if we grant it total control, the only thing it will do is locating possible problems and trying to protect us from them. And with some due efforts, a problem can be found anywhere. Wouldn't you say so? Okay, we want to explore a new place, and our intellect says, What if you will run into a crowd of hot blooded bored scums? Maybe it's better to stay home. Or we want to find another job and our intellect is worried. What if they will not respect you there? Or the salary will be lower? Intellect suppresses our ability to move forward and act. By means of fears, intellect paralyzes our will. The process of acquiring new emotions and feelings makes us truly alive. Making mistakes, rectifying them, or adapting to consequences provides us with a lot of energy. This is the essence of life. Intellect strips us of these opportunities. It's scary. There are dangerous people. What if? These are the arguments of our intellectual apparatus. Uncontrolled intellect forces a person to get in a shell, leaving him no possibility even to venture out for a moment. Thereby, a man loses the feeling of life. We desperately need to feel the swirling of life. Without it, there is nothing but the blues, and depression is just a step away. Ultimately, even a suicide might be just right round the corner. As a matter of fact, people have known about this danger of uncontrolled intellect for a long time. Every culture has its own way to curb its activity, at least for the time being. In the East, it is meditation, in the West, it's alcohol and drugs. Both are quite effective. You can use whichever you like. But it should be mentioned, though, that these are only temporary measures which do not solve the problem. In order to tackle this issue fundamentally, you have to learn how to manage your intellect. In other words, to channelize it to an area where it is supposed to work and fence it off from directions that are not meant for it. This is where you have to use your will to the full extent. Let's say we want to make a chair. It's a decent task. We ask our intellect, how do we do this? It is activated and thinks about possible ways for us to make a chair. Then we ask intellect, how do we start a business in selling chairs? And intellect begins looking for options. You can ask it anything, even about hobbies and pastimes, but under no circumstances should you ask if it's necessary to make chairs or not. Do not let intellect think whether it's a good decision to start a business or not. If you want it, do it. And whether you will succeed or not, it's not of a great import here. What's important here is that you, on the one hand, control your intellect, and on the other hand, get out of the habit to be afraid. Our intellect forces us to fear everything around, which is preposterous as many things either have not happened yet or will never happen. We are entities way bigger than we are used to think about ourselves and much more complicated. But we can truly feel it only after we tame our intellect. So, what would you like your life to be guided with? A computer in the head looking for threats and fears it produces? Or, after all, by yourself? Choose.